You are an alien historian and you realize every human civilization first invented beer and a sword, meaning these people's first priority was getting hammered and stabbing the guy who tells you to stop drinking. Coronel, Lord of Informatics, walked down the agate-covered walkway and opened the hatch to his study. There, he sat down in his opulent chair of unusual origin and peered over the datapad strewn across his desk. Stuck on this hellhole of a world, Coronel made it his mission to accomplish what the top brass never thought he could. Earn an advanced military applications doctorate. In the Galactic Federation Navy, he was railroaded from promotion. And the GFN was perhaps the most conservative organization in the known galaxy. The chances of an officer from the informatics sect ascending to full admiral was low. Ever since the tragedy of Fleet Admiral Oasis in the Battle of Helvetica, the instinctives ruled the roost, so to speak. So, the only way he could make his talents undeniable was to show supremacy in another of the 10 hallowed schools of galactic warfare. That was why he, a Friesan known for their long sleep periods, hadn't slept in over 48 hours. His final dissertation was to show the tendencies of culture and their reliability on dictating the probabilities of defensive and offensive biases. With that in mind, he spent 80 standard galactic years studying various planets seeded with humanity and came to a startling conclusion. He brushed his datapads away from his view and mentally commanded his large monitor to be brought closer towards him. Call Professor Jitens. The monitor turned on and now Coronel had to wait for his academic mentor. The screen changed and a warm, familiar presence looked toward Coronel. His academic mentor was one of the few remaining Martians, but he always kept upbeat no matter the situation. Hello Coronel, how are you? Coronel lightly scratched his ear. Could be better, Professor. Thanks for the care package, by the way. It's hard to find any delicacies in this part of the sector. Don't thank me, thank my wife's parents. They give us way too much food whenever they visit. But enough about that, I'm curious why you called when we're scheduled to meet for your presentation in a week. Yeah, about that. Is there any way to delay the presentation? Professor Jitens cocked his head slightly to the side and almost laughed, but his grin faded after the briefest of moments. What are you talking about? The top brass will arrive to observe the prize students' presentations. Not just our Shadow Art School, but the students of the remaining 10 schools. The Galactic Federation must have its officers to thrust into the grinder of war. Which brings me back to the original point. What are you talking about? Well, my findings have long been complete, but, you see, in a moment of sheer sleep deprivation I had a revelation about the species used as the subject for my dissertation. Okay, so what? Surprises happen. You are supposed to tread new ground, never fear where your research takes you, as long as you stay true to the creed of our school. Yes, but the result, while new and unconventional, is the exact opposite of what I intended to uncover. It appears that no matter the planet, the species in question has a certain genetic guiche, a compulsion to invent and imbibe a harmful substance that fuels their recklessness and produce swords, a primitive weapon for an aggressive race. Professor Jitens frowned and folded his arms across his chest at the revelations. Well, I would have to take a look at your data, but it sounds intriguing. The result may be significantly different, but you could. There's more, Coronel interrupted. 10 to 20% of the species do not inherit that particular guiche. I call these people the builder caste. They attempt to make connections between the people and form a society, but every once in a while they come up against a particularly belligerent drinker and are eventually stabbed. Coronel